All right, 5 minutes on the clock. Tweets up here on the screen. When the first one goes up, the counter hits. Let's do it, y'all. Bop, bada, bop, bop. There we are. Okay, by the way, there's no comment I have here. We got to show the screen. There it is. Well, the clock's on it, on top. All right, point being is a dude painted this, and they're going to send it to the studio, apparently, and we're going to have to find a way to put it up here, but that should be a lot of fun. Check that out. That's an actual painting that this gentleman, Jay Fox, did, so give him a follow, please, because that would be amazing. Next. Hi, guys. Is Santigo Ponzinibbio the most underrated, undervalued fighter in all of the UFC? He's such an elite striker. Well, I have to say we haven't even talked about it, but the most underrated fighter maybe in MMA right now is Patricio Pitbull, but of course he fights for Bellator. But to answer the question, is he one of the most underrated, undervalued fighter in the UFC? He might be. He's certainly up there because I think after that win over Gunnar Nelson, there was so much controversy about the eye pokes. No one really knew what it meant. And to be clear, Ponzinibbio has some ranks to climb. But as you can see from I showed you from the movement, he's got good metagame. He's got good tactics. He has very good power, good composure. He goes for the finish. Like, he just does a lot of things really, really well. And so, you know, is he the most underrated? I don't know. It's hard to quantify who's number one and number two, but is he on the short list? Yeah, there's no doubt about it. People just don't realize how many things he does well. I don't mean grappling, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, striking. I mean metagame, tactics, finishing, the whole bit, all the other things we don't normally discuss. Next. In my opinion, Magny's corner did the right thing by not throwing in the towel. Fighters get to know their true physical and mental limits only in a fight. Such limit-checking fights should be very limited in a career, but necessary. Otherwise, they won't grow. Thoughts? There's no denying, as I mentioned before, I thought that case before was borderline. I just don't think there's enough evidence to say that the corner did Magny wrong, and I made that point clear. I do think they got pretty close. To me, it's the when people are like, oh, there's no way you would want to do it, or like, let's ask the fighter. Well, the fighter says they're glad it didn't happen. These are not relevant considerations. They're certainly not the most important ones. The most important ones are what is medically advisable and what kinds of things you're going to see is, will we allow this? You guys think that there's no consequence, some of you anyway. There's a consequence to be paid. You let somebody take a beating when they're not supposed to, typically in a championship 5-round context, they often don't come out the same, right? So everyone thinks, oh, well, they just lost a fight. Well, they'll come back and fight tomorrow. You get a fight like that long enough, right? Because the idea is that you had an opportunity to stop it. Time had elapsed. You let that go and you don't stop it, they don't come out the same on the other end. You're going to see. You're going to shorten people's careers, and you're going to turn them into something that they don't have to be by not having enough humanity in the moment. Next. Who should Calvillo face next? Should it be Waterson like she wants? I would love to see it. I think it's a great matchup. I like both of those ladies. They have differing, but in some ways complementary abilities. They both go for the finish. They're both exciting. I like it. Next. Is Roxanne Modafferi's idea of taking a point as a penalty for missing weight a good idea? Is it something that could realistically be implemented in the future? I wasn't sure about this until our own Guilherme Cruz had told me about, I forget which promotion it is in Brazil that already does this. It's what I don't think it's Shuto, but it's one of like Waleed Ismail's promotions, and apparently they've had a lot of success with it. I'm in favor of a trial basis. But again, here's the point. I keep making this point about athletic commissions, and it goes in one ear and out the other. Folks, here's the reality. How are you going to get every state to acknowledge that? Good luck doing it. We have enshrined the worst possible way to make any kinds of rule changes. Next. Where does Johnny Walker rank in great names of MMA? Might have the skills to back it up, too. Man, what an unbelievable name that is. That would have to be IE to be the liquor, but I was making Johnny Walker jokes on Twitter. I'm trying to think if there's any other name. Kimbo Slice is a great name, too, but Johnny Walker's kind of up there. Next. Why does UFC always start at 10 p.m. Eastern time, even if the event means it will end at 3 or 4 a.m. local time, when all other sports don't cater to American time zones? Doesn't make sense and seems disrespectful to the home crowd. I think Fox is looking for some kind of consistency, like we're always going to air at this time, but I agree, it's ludicrous. No one wants to stay up that late. You could have started it at 9 and no one would have been. Does it really affect viewership? Maybe, but I haven't seen any data to that effect, and I felt so bad for the Argentinians who had to sit there. Next. Apologies for the Floyd question. Do you agree that Chael's assertion that Rizin will attempt to put one over on Floyd by handing a victory to Tension despite any contractual agreements or possible legal repercussions? What other motivations could they have? Wouldn't put it past him to try something like that, but I also don't think you should underestimate Floyd. Floyd might also have some contractual provisions in there that prevent these kinds of shenanigans. So Floyd is annoying, and none of us like him, but he's not a dummy. He's not.